Welcome to the Oxygen Alliance YouTube channel, where we bring you videos on installation, maintenance, and various trainings on oxygen equipment and devices. If you have comments and or questions, drop them in the comment section below or write to us info@oxygenalliance.org. Remember to like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell.
Hi everyone. So our main topic for today is going to be on embracing diversity in the biomedical engineering space, where we have invited special guests to share with us the different experiences, sectoral integration, and insights from the different regions, since our experiences in the medical field are actually different and vary from country to country. So we are here to learn more from our guests and our panelists. Today we have Christine Kibet, who is from Kenya. We have Sheila Bagayana from Uganda and Lozinda Mangilwa from Zambia. So I'm pretty sure they will reintroduce themselves better when we get into it. Lydia, I don't know if you have sorted the network.
Yes, I have. Thanks for taking that up, Moawi. Again, for those who don't know me, my name is Lydia Njuguna. At the Oxygen Alliance, I'm the lead partnership, and I'll be your host for this session today. And thank you so much for making the time to join us here today. So we'll just go over the agenda. We'll start with the introductions, as Moawi mentioned. So we get to know who's on the call, which I had Moawi encourage you, to type the details on the chat. We'll also get to meet the panel that he has, alluded to. And then again, I'll just mention very briefly about the Oxygen Alliance, and we'll get into the main topics of the day, where we'll speak about pivoting in the industry, and we'll also have the panelists speak about, personal and professional development, which we know is very important in every career path. And then finally, we'll have a section for question and answer. So with that, jump straight to the introduction. And I think it's great that we start, by telling you more about us. I believe that by the fact that you've joined the call, you know something about the Oxygen Alliance. But then again, I'll very briefly tell you more about what we do. So the Oxygen Alliance was formed as a response to the consequences of COVID-19. And with that, with our very able engineers, partners, and stakeholders, we facilitate repair, maintenance, and reintroduction of crucial devices into, the healthcare system. Yeah, and with that, we like to also now engage you a little bit more on the call. And we want to invite you to answer a poll. Probably you've never taken part in a poll, but then this time we love to guide you. So if you're on another tab, kindly just go back to the video tab and look at the bottom of your screen if you're using a laptop. As you can see, there's a section there at the bottom right where we have a triangle, I think a square and a circle. That's where you'll find the poll. And if you're using a mobile phone, the icon is still the same. And I believe you're ready now, Douglas. If you are, you can launch the poll. And this poll, the goal is to help us know more about you. And we'd like to know what category best describes you. And the main goal or the purpose of this question is to help even the panelists be able to curate their responses and also their stories to fit, the different scenarios that we have. So Douglas, take it away. You can launch the poll. Let me know once that's ready. Yeah, I've seen the poll pop up on my screen. Please just look at the bottom right. You'll now see the icon has a blue dot at the top. And kindly let us know which category best describes you out of the choices that have been provided there. So please continue giving us a response. We'd really love to know. More about you as we proceed with this session. Great, and I think I'd love to proceed. to a very interesting section of this session today, where we have to meet our panelists. And these are ladies who are doing really well in the field. If you read their CV, their portfolios, they're setting trends across, Africa in the different countries where they work. I'd love to, take it up to myself and, sing their praises. But then again, we are all very eager to hear their voices and also give them an opportunity to speak. And first off, I think love Christine to kindly just unmute and give us just 3 sentences of introduction of ourselves before we proceed. Christine Kibet, over to you. As we wait for Christine, maybe we can move to Asmin. Asmin, this is an opportunity. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. Asmin is joining us and is also representing Tanzania. Asmin, please take it away.
Hi everyone. So my name is Asmin, a biomedical engineer and also a tutorial assistant at Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences. I'm so honored to be here today and to discuss this topic, and I look forward to sharing my journey and insight with you all. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Asmin. And I think very interestingly, Asmin also has experience working, in facilities and then transitioning to academia. So I believe her expertise and experiences that she's going to share today are going to be invaluable to us all. Luzindaba is next. Please take it away.
Good afternoon. My name is Luzindaba Ani Mwangilwa, and I'm a biomedical engineering technologist. I'm currently serving as head of department for the biomedical engineering under the Charleston sub-district in Lusaka, Zambia. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us today, and we really look forward, to hearing about your experiences from the Zambian context. And I can see Christine is back. Maybe just introduce yourself so that we can proceed.
Okay. Good evening, all. My name is Christine Kibet from Kenya, a biomedical engineer, currently a director in a government agency called Local Authorities Provident Fund. I'm glad to be here, and thank you, Lydia, for hosting me. I'll be happy to also share my experience with you all as a biomedical engineer. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for also making the time to share your experience with us. And finally, we are happy to introduce Sheila. Sheila, if you can just take it away and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thanks, Lydia. I'm Sheila Bagayana, a biomedical engineer like all the ladies on the panel. I'm a co-founder and managing director at Shishi International. Shishi International is a medical device company that's pioneering local manufacturing of medical devices in Uganda. I have previous experience working in oxygen systems, piloting new and innovative medical devices. So really excited to be on this call and share my experiences and learnings in the biomedical engineering field. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for joining, Sheila. And I think something very interesting about Sheila is that she's in the entrepreneurship field. So, giving us that perspective of biomedical engineering, tying that into entrepreneurship, will be a great thing to hear. Great. As we move, again, I want to give us all another exercise. This session, everybody's going to participate. So we're about to launch another poll. Again, I'd just like to go over where you can find the poll. If you're using a laptop, just check at the bottom right of your screen. You'll find an icon with a triangle, square, and a circle. That's where the polls are found. You'll just click there and you'll be able to answer the 2 polls that have been launched. If you're using a mobile phone, again, the icon is still the same. Just click on the 3 dots at the bottom of your screen to be able to access the polls. And Douglas, if you're ready, please help us launch this poll where we'd like to know how many years of practice have you been practicing, or how many years of experience do you have? I can see it's gone up. Please help us by giving us that. That helps us to learn more about you again, and also curate the experience of this webinar to suit the different scenario or perspectives of where we are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for participating. We appreciate your responses, David and team. Thank you so much for that. And I think with that, we can now proceed now to the first section of this amazing session, where we'd love to engage our panelists on pivoting in the industry. I know there's so many questions or rather even doubts, on the different ways biomedical engineers can pivot in and out of the industry. And our first question, I think it's very interesting. I'd love to know from our panelists, how did they find themselves in the biomedical field? And maybe they can share with us a little bit about their journey into the biomedical field. I know most of us just one day, like for example, in my case, once I completed secondary school, here in Kenya, usually have a board called the Joint Appointment Board. And what it does is it allocates courses, to secondary school graduates based off of how the courses that you wanted to do, and also that's against how you performed in the national examinations. And that's how I found myself doing sociology, a course that I'd never had before. Nobody in my village or in my family had ever heard of sociology. But then that's how I went to the university, completed that course, which now I really love. I'm interested, Sheila, how did you find yourself in the field? And maybe tell us about your journey so far up to this point.
Thanks, Lydia. So interestingly, something maybe possibly similar to yours. After high school, biomedical engineering was being offered for the first time at Makerere University. That was in 2011. So I had applied for medicine, then biomedical engineering. So I didn't manage to get medicine. So I said, whatever they give me, I will take that. So that happened to be biomedical engineering. So went into university, did the program, but because it was very new and many people kept asking me, oh, what's a program about? What are you going to do once you finish school? I really tasked it upon myself to start searching, say in other countries, are there biomedical engineering programs, are there opportunities? So I became really curious about the opportunities that are out there for biomedical engineering. And I think that's where my career journey started, because I then understood the role and the potential of biomedical engineers to change or to innovate or to create, to solve different problems which were already existing in our environment. So I took it upon myself, started participating in various international challenges, local challenges. And this is where my journey, I think, for biomedical engineering, for innovation, and later manufacturing, I think, started.
Thanks for sharing that. I'm happy to hear that, the contexts are kind of similar across two different countries. Luzinda, maybe about yourself, how did you find yourself in this field, and how has your journey been so far?
So I guess mine is similar to the two stories. I didn't know about biomedical engineering, but coming from an all-girls family and being African, my father wanted a boy, so I was the fortunate one, if I can say that. He used to take around in his work and all that. So my father was a mechanical engineer, so I became very curious about what engineering is and all that. But then the man wanted me to be a doctor. So when I came across biomedical engineering, it was like, okay, so I get to make my father happy by being in the hospital, but then I get to do something that is a little bit more interesting than human beings to me, which was working with medical equipment. So I found myself in biomedical engineering. And again, my dad being an academician, he wanted for us to like venture so much into that. So I found myself studying teaching course because you said this might be very good for you. You're going to learn more about research and all that. And since capacity building is a part of biomedical engineering, this is going to be quite good for you. So I found myself doubling in that as well. Thank you.
Great. And now that you found yourself in this field, how has your journey been so far since you started practicing?
It's been a bit of a challenge, but then I can say it's challenges that I've been able to overcome and just grow as a human being and as a professional. It's been insightful because I got to learn more about biomedical engineering than what I knew first when I was being introduced to the course. So I've gotten to know that there's much more to our field, and then it's actually helped me be a dreamer. So I see myself doing something different from what I am doing now, but then it will still be in the biomedical engineering course, but then just venturing into one or several of the branches that the course has to offer.
That's very interesting. Christine, I know I've heard your story before, but then I think it's a perfect opportunity now for the rest of Africa to hear it. How did you find yourself in this field? And maybe also tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. I think I finished my school long time ago, that is in 1997, and I acquired a very good grade, but I lacked a mentor to mentor me or to guide me on which course even I could take, because um, after failing to attain the grade for the university, I also had a very good grade that could lead me to do a diploma, a very good diploma course. But so I stayed at home for 3 good years, and after that, I remember my uncle just came and asked me, "What do you want? Do you want to go to Kenya Medical Training College or a Kenya Teachers Training College?" I told him anything that can come easily, I'll be able to join. So he struggled and brought me an invitation letter to join a Kenya Medical Training College, and the course was medical engineering. I didn't know anything about medical engineering. So I inquired about it from my cousin who had gone to India for study. And he told me medical engineering is a new course here in Kenya. And currently Kenya is offering certificate course, but the diploma and the higher studies can be done abroad. So when I heard about that, I had not boarded a plane before. So I said, because it is a course that I'll do only for 2 years here in Kenya, and it is a certificate course, let me just join it so that I get an opportunity to fly outside. So that is how I got myself into engineering. But when I wanted to change while in Kenya Medical Training College, I was doing so well, especially in electrical and mechanical engineering. I could be the top student in my class. So every time I complain and tell my teachers, I want to change this course and do nursing, they could tell me how, and yet you are doing very well in these mechanical and electrical subjects. So they encouraged me, and at the end of the day, I had to accept and start the journey of medical engineering. So after that, after finishing the certificate, I went for diploma, and then finally enrolled for a degree program in Bachelor of Industrial Technology. So I'm glad and I cannot regret. I'm a happy biomedical engineer. Thank you.
Great. It's interesting to hear about your motivation to do the course. Take your first flight. Maybe can you also tell us a little bit more about your journey now practicing. How you've maneuvered, how you've grown, and the changes that have come. With practicing biomedical engineering.
Okay. After my diploma course, I was employed in our county as a biomedical technologist. So I started practicing medical engineering in the year 2011. So I enjoyed so much, though I was posted in a facility that was not much engaging. And I could find myself doing some other things. You know, I just had to learn some other things like pharmacy. In the pharmacy, I could actually give out the medication because I was taught on how to dispense. And then I could do the records and any other thing that I was able to do, because this facility had very few medical equipments. I had no much to do. I was maintaining. I remember very well, I could go to the hospital, remove all, like I could do cleaning and servicing of the equipments even weekly, because I didn't have much to do. I loved it so much. So my equipments were very well maintained. I was the only biomed in that facility. And after that, I went to take my degree course. And after my degree course, I was promoted to become head of medical engineering department in our county. So I was transferred to a referral hospital, and that is where I worked until 2022 when I resigned for a national job. Thank you.
Great. That is such an inspiring journey. As you can hear, like there's a lot of self-initiative to actually go out there and do more than is actually required of you. Very interestingly, now, Asmin, I'm very interested to hear the Tanzanian context. How did you find yourself in this field, and how's your journey been so far?
Well, my story is kind of similar to you was Shaila and Lozindaba, I think. So actually, after finishing my secondary school, I didn't went to high school, because in Tanzania, that's how it is. When you finish your O level, you usually go to high level. I mean, high level, and then you go to college or university. But at that time, well, my dad was not ready to pay for me like extra amount of money for my high school. And then I decided to, okay, since I love medicine, but what if I love medicine at the same time I loved engineering? So what if I could do both? Maybe I was kind of thinking, and then one of my teachers introduced me to biomedical engineering, and it was a very new course at that time. It was only offered by just 2 colleges in my country. That was there's a college called Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology and Arusha Technical College. So I applied for one of the technical college actually. So I got selected to start my diploma there. And then after finishing my diploma, I went on and joined bachelor at Arusha Technical College. It was only the college that was providing bachelor at that time. And then after finishing my bachelor, and then I went on like practicing now from 2020 to 2023, where I switched my career. So I practice in hospital as well as I'm now doing academic actually. So I'm now in research kind of environment. Yeah, so that in short, that is my journey.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And you being an active member of a professional body, how do you think experienced biomedical engineering professionals, how do you think they can create effective mentorship programs? Because I've had mentorship from teachers, from Christine, we've had mentorship from family. How do you think in the African context, how can we package mentorship to make sure that the upcoming biomedical engineering professionals are supported and actually are successful in the field?
As professional, I will break this maybe into 3, maybe in the governance level up to an individual level actually. So the way we can do this, first of all, is just creating good mentorship model or program, can I say it like that? Because I can just speak in the context of my country, for example, or in the context of as far as AMIT is concerned. So actually, for the association, it was inactive for the past 10 years. So we revived it like 2 years ago. It is when it is it has started to become active. And thankful to that, because we have also managed to create some of the mentorship starting from the association itself. So I will think of it like having the good mentorship models, like the government together with academic institution, together with this association, trying to create a mentorship program that will be sustainable, for example. For example, here in Tanzania, the way we are the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Health is organizing this kind of mentorship program is through stakeholders. So kind of stakeholders creating these programs, and then this is just being transferred to the biomedical engineers working in the hospitals. And then there's a lack of kind of sustainability after that. Something I could also pull up resources and support. I don't know how can we manage this though, but it actually something that could be planned prior, especially in managing resources and support to the mentorship program, as well as providing proper training and mentorship to mentors as well. Let's say we have like a lot of biomedical engineers in working in different facilities. At the moment, you cannot have all at the same time trying to mentor them, but I believe you can have a group or representative group and try to create a mentorship program of mentorship of mentees, can I call it like that? Like we mentor the mentors who will mentor others, actually. Then another thing is for the government to collaborate with the industry and academic institution as well to start providing these short courses and training courses to the biomedical engineers as well, so that we can go with the trend and technology development. So that is from my side. So I welcome even others to join forces there.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing that. And I think from that I can pick up that there's no one answer to this question. And I think I'd also love to hear from our audience. Please also type on the chat. Let us know, like, what are some of the ways do you think, professional biomedical engineering professionals, can create, an effective mentorship program? Because this is something that students, people who are also still growing in their career, are looking at. These are persistent question, across the industry. Sheila, having pivoted, even into entrepreneurship, how do you think, or what are your thoughts on effective mentorship? How can we sustain it, and how can we make sure that it's effective and supports professionals in different levels in biomedical engineering?
Thanks, Lydia. I think mentorship, for one, it's very key, and from my personal experience, I think has been a key role and driver in my progress career-wise. When I was starting out initially, I actually went to my mentor, who interestingly is on this call, Dr. Robert Sechitoleko, and I explained to him, this is what I want to do, this is where I see myself going, where do you think, how do you think I should position myself in the field? So he gave me advice. He said, I think you need to go into a public health facility to understand the challenges, to exactly understand the challenges, if later you're going to innovate and manufacture the devices that really address the challenges that you're talking about.
Luzinda, but what has been your experience with mentorship, and how do you think seasoned professionals can do it more sustainably, especially in this time and in this context?
My experience with mentorship. So I have been privileged to have a few people mentor me through my career, and I must say those are the people that really helped me overcome some of the challenges that I went through. I had instances where I told myself, this is a man's job, I really can't do this. But then thanks to the mentors that I had, they told me, you can do it. It might be a man's job, but who says you can't succeed in it? So I believe that having someone guide you down the right path, and also just to motivate you and encourage you when you're having your down moments, is what most of our upcoming biomedical engineering professionals need, especially given the fact that our industry is quite relatively new, and there's so much of us now, but then there isn't enough employment opportunities. So having someone to encourage you and advise you on how best you can practice what you learn, and even just venture into other careers or other branches of our field that will be complementary and help you grow, is something that is good. So one thing that I feel should be implemented is, maybe when we talk about the professional bodies, I feel like this is the best, one of the best things that they can actually do is venture into mentorship, encouraging students and even pupils from secondary schools to teach them about biomedical engineering. I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Zambia, despite our field being around for the past 5 to even maybe 10 years, I still find myself explaining what biomedical engineering is and what it entails. So if we can start mentoring people from as young as high schoolers, I feel like it is going to be quite beneficial when they eventually get to choose to study biomedical engineering. They'll already know what is expected of them. They'll start preparing towards that, as opposed to some of us that just accidentally stumbled upon the field. And it is also going to foster a particular mindset that I believe some and most of us are lacking as biomedical engineers. Thank you.
Great. I like the perspective that you've introduced. Young learners mentorship. I believe most of our careers, or most careers, are nurtured when people are young, in school and at home. So I really agree, with that perspective that you've introduced of, early mentorship, maybe through clubs and career fairs, career days, for institutions that have those. I'm also very interested to hear, from Sheila. I'm just curious, in your growth, in your career growth, what will you say were some of the most crucial skills that attributed to your success? And will you recommend this to upcoming and growing biomedical engineering professionals as well?
Thanks, Lydia. So I'll go straight in. So one is exploration. So explore as much as possible until you find your niche. And especially for people who are still in school, using your university time, say 4 or 5 years, to actually do this. So to be an intern in various organizations, even when it's not the structured school internship. You can request different organizations to host you, so that you have a feel of what the field is like, what different people will help you find your passions, and where you ideally help you place you somewhere where you feel that's where your passion lies, one sector to another, to try new things. But two, the other skill I thought was very key that has helped me progress is creating and keeping valuable network. So just trying to keep in touch with the people in the field in various ways, different mentors, doctors, and just letting people know that you do biomedical engineering and this is what you can do, because many times people don't even know how they can engage you in their organizations. But I've had scenarios where you talk to someone who has never thought they needed a biomedical engineer in their organization, and then they suddenly say, okay, I think I really need a biomed. So it's networking, putting yourself out there, and creating valuable networks, both on the African continent, but also internationally. And always benchmarking with what people in the field elsewhere are doing. So of course we are gifted with the internet. We can find out what different people are doing and always trying to collaborate. So finding people who are doing similar things and seeking collaborations with them. I think those are my 3 big ones. Thank you, and over.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, definitely networking, exploration. Those are very, important skills to hone in the field. Asmin, maybe now from your context, with the shift now from practicing in facilities now to academia and research, what are some of the skills do you think are important for professionals to have, especially ones that are looking into pivoting or rather moving across sectors?
Okay, so I will not go very far away from what Sheila has said. Collaboration will be one of them, because since you can imagine, me was working in a hospital settings and then shifting from the hospital setting to research and academia. So the network and the collaboration that I had before with the other professionals working in hospital setting has made it easy communication and collaborate if I want to make students to go and visit the hospitals easily because they know me. So still collaboration and networking is one of them. Another thing is just maybe the working experience. For me to work in the hospital, then shifting, because now I know, like, okay, what the hospital is lacking and what I'm supposed to teach the new generation of students going to work, especially in the hospital. Another thing is could be I'll still say like the technical proficiency through, I will still go to the mentorship and program as well. So different skills can be gained even through the mentorship program again. So we go through, these short courses, training, different stakeholders trying to organize different trainings, especially on, let's say, emerging technologies, or even like oxygen plant, for example, oxygen plant training, or even MRI and CT training, stuff like that. And so that are my best three points that I could mention, especially in the skills and knowledge as far as shifting career is concerned.
Great. That is awesome, especially when you mention about nurturing personal relationships and how that translates, in other tasks, that individuals need to run in their career. So thank you so much, for sharing that. Lozinda, but in your experience, what do you think are some of, some soft skills or skills that, growing new professional biomedical engineer professionals should have or should start owning?
I think I'm going to echo what the two previous speakers spoke on. Networking and communication, I believe, are very good skills that one should hold, not just for biomedical engineering, but for any profession. You need to be able to communicate what it is that you do, what you specialize in, or what you require from other people, or even the place that you're working in. So number one is communication. And given the fact that we are engineers, I believe some technical skills are important for us to possess. So skills such as meter reading, soldering and desoldering, those tiny, tiny bits that sometimes might seem as if they are time consuming or not really that important, are very, very important. Like I am one person that felt that certain skills weren't important, but then getting into the field itself, I had to find myself learning those things quicker than I thought I would, because they were very important. So communication and technical skills. And I don't know if confidence is a skill, but yeah, I believe we have to be very confident in what we're doing, because working in the field, you face challenges where some people will question your decisions or question your input. So you need to be confident in what you think you know is right and just speak it up, because if you don't have the confidence, it is very difficult for people to have or develop the confidence in you and really know that this person is capable of doing what we expect them to do or what they are saying they are going to do. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for also sharing, a nice blend of technical and soft skills. So besides just owning and growing the soft skills, there's also the importance of not ignoring the technical skills, especially in a very practical fields such as biomedical engineering. And I think at this point, now that we are all like in consensus that biomedical engineering is still very young, or rather very new, especially in our African context. It's good that we share, good stories, success stories. And Sheila, can you maybe tell us what has been the most rewarding experience so far in your career? I think this is very important, especially now to the students who are on the call and are looking forward to growing in this career.
Thanks, Lydia. I think the rewarding experiences in the field have been many. And for me, they've mainly been on, there've been quite a number. Maybe I can just highlight a few. So one has been previously when I piloted, I worked with Free O2 Foundation to scale up oxygen in Western Uganda. So actually going to these facilities and seeing them receive oxygen from the devices that we had worked with initially, started doing the technical testing, taken them through clinical trials, and finally seeing them reach the patients and actually supply the oxygen that the patients need, and seeing the health workers light up when they use these technologies, for me was always a rewarding moment. And of course, my final leap to leave the NGO sector to manufacturing, which has been a long time dream of mine, which has been made possible also through a number of networks and collaboration, has also been a very gratifying moment. So on a daily, I get quite a number of gratifying moments based on the work that I'm able to do, the impact that I'm able to create in the field, in the biomedical engineering field generally, but also specific work that I've done in the past on increasing access to oxygen has been gratifying. Thanks, and over.
Great. Luzinda, but in your experience, or rather so far, what has been most rewarding? What makes you think about medical engineering and you smile?
Most rewarding, I believe having made it through the COVID pandemic. I feel that for me was the most rewarding because I was new at this thing. That was my first deployment, and straight into it, I walk into the COVID pandemic. So having made it and knowing that I was a major part of the recoveries that we made and just putting an end to that for me was a rewarding moment. I look back at that and say that was one of the most challenging moments, but I made it. I didn't crumble. I know it wasn't based on my own work, but through the team that I had that was there to push me and just believe that I could do whatever it is that was required. Yes. And another thing is serving under the Biomedical Engineering Association of Zambia. So that's a society that was created to just help our profession grow in the country and to help us just voice out what we need as a profession to help us make a print and to market ourselves. So I serve as a vice treasurer, and because of that, I have been a part of other things, such as something that we're currently partnering with PATH. We are making a skills award program, so concerning oxygen management. So that encompasses production of oxygen and oxygen related devices and management and maintenance of those things. So we are working towards launching that skills award training program. We have already made the syllabus for that. So I tap myself on the shoulder because I'm like, wow, I am a part of something that is going to be very great, and it's going to help my career and also just the nation and the world at large. So for me, that is something that makes me very proud to be a biomedical engineer. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I also, share in pride with you. Congratulations for that. And those are very great initiatives, that impact your country, and hopefully they'll trickle down to the rest of Africa. You also mentioned challenges, and Asmin, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered so far? I know our journeys are beautiful. We are looking up to you, but then again, I believe it didn't come without hurdles. So what are some of the greatest challenge, or even just one challenge, and how did you overcome it, in your experience?
Well, one of the biggest challenge, as the course is still new, as even tonight, I think the experience are just the same, and so far as I can see, because as the course is still new, so maybe sometimes every time you need to explain what are you guys doing. There's a saying they're saying like biomedical is like a jack of all trade and a master of none. And they believe like you can do everything, especially if you work in a hospital setting where you are the biomedical engineer. So they believe you can solve each and every technical issue in the hospital. So it's like you're mastering none, and all the junk and everything you need to solve in an hospital setting. That's the biggest challenge. And another challenge, during the first, when I finished my diploma, at that time, as the course was very new, at that time, I remember our new president was just in the power, so there was no government official work. And it was only the companies that were being able to employ biomedical. And at that time, the companies, they were not employing female biomedical engineers. So you can imagine, like, you're being denied to work just because you're a female. So that was very challenging. But I took that challenge, and I decided to gain more skills. So I went on to the hospital and volunteer for a year in order to get that experience and be confident to myself. And like, it's not me being the female, it's the skills that I'm processing you should judge of. So that's the biggest challenge, actually.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. The challenges of being a female in the field, as well as now being being a technician where everybody expects that you know everything. It reminds me, I don't know, here in the Kenyan context, if you are, let's say, a handyman, let's say you're an electrical engineer, everybody now expects that you know how to fix everything. You can do wiring, you can fix appliances, the generalization of technicians. We call them fundi, and apparently fundi should be able to fix everything. I'd like us to move now to professional in personal development. Sheila, what's your take on continuous self-improvement in terms of professional and personal development? And how do we strike a balance? How do we know that we are developing the right skills and you're going towards the direction that we aspire?
Interesting question, Lydia. I personally think that the more we expose ourselves to new opportunities and new challenges, the more it exposes us to probably what more we need to learn or where we are lacking. So for me, personal and professional development have been very important. So in terms of personal development, just taking the time, I know we talked about soft skills earlier, but at a personal level, how are you growing? If you're going to lead a team of 10, 20 people, how are you going to inspire the team? How are you going to motivate them to keep working? And some of these things are non-biomedical, but they're important for you to be able to manage the people and the resources that you have. So in terms of personal development, I read a lot. In 2017, when I was, I think that was the time, and at that time, I took on a challenge where I had to read 25 books in 25 weeks. That means each week I was reading a book, and I really saw a great shift. And that was almost a year or two after university. So there was a great shift for me personally and professionally. When I look back at that time, all that information, all that knowledge that I gained actually really have helped propel and grow me forward. So in terms of professional development, of course, taking courses, the right number of courses, even without the professional say masters, PhD are very highly recommended. But even as you await for some of those, you can do some of these small trainings in project management, M&E. I found that doing an M&E course that I took on really helped me greatly when I was running an NGO. So it gave me a lot of perspective on key performance, on measuring different aspects of the program and the project. So it made me a much better manager and opened my eyes to so many things. So as biomedical engineers, we have to be open, not only growing technically or within the field, but also outside these other skills, project planning, communication skills, and there are various other courses that you can take to improve some of these other professional aspects. Yeah, so that's my take.
Thank you so much for sharing. And also, you've also dropped, some of the other areas biomedical engineers can start thinking about, for example, M&D. Luzinda, but how has your, professional development journey, how have you taken it, in terms of personal growth and also professional growth? And what advice in terms of skills that are currently required on the ground, what are some of those skills that you'll advise practicing engineers both, in government and non-government, to start acquiring and thinking about?
I believe personal growth is as important as professional growth. So for me, I try to balance that. Like, I tend not to concentrate more on my career growth and then I neglect my personal growth. So I tend to sometimes put the professional part on hold because I had a 3-year tenure where I did not do much of my okay, it was a little bit professional and personal growth, but then I did a whole lot of studying for 3 years nonstop. And then I figured, okay, I am now getting tired and just overwhelmed with everything that's happening. So I came to terms with the fact that I neglected a bit of the little things that make me who I am, which I consider a personal growth, and concentrated much on career growth. So I believe as a human being, you can pursue and reach for as much as you dream, but it's also important to just take a pause once in a while and just grow as a human being. So, for example, reading, I've learned much from reading than I thought I would. So, as much as I would want to learn about something, I will read. And I found that I learned how to express myself better when, like, through reading, and also just interactions with people. So, of course, networking is important, but then what about just a casual conversation with a friend or with a workmate? I have come to learn that certain things like those casual conversations also help us to develop personally as much as they also help us to grow in our professional lives. And then when it comes to the professional aspect, dare to dream. For me, I was told biomedical engineering is only offered at diploma level in Zambia, so that's as far as you are going to go. Do you want to limit yourself to just a diploma? But then I couldn't afford to go study outside of the country. So I told myself, you know what? Let's start from here. Then we're going to see where this leads us. I've been able to acquire other qualifications that are not engineering qualifications, but guess what? They complement the engineering profession. And I came to learn that I will not only grow by studying biomedical engineering. No, like I can pursue electrical engineering and it's still going to help me in my biomedical engineering field. I can go for software engineering. I can try other types of engineering like industrial engineering. So dare to dream. Like, don't let people restrict you by the challenges that they have faced or the challenges that they foresee in your future. If you feel you can do it and if that's what you want, then keep pushing. So I've told myself I'm not going to limit myself to my diploma. I'm going to keep pushing until I have a degree in either biomedical engineering or another engineering field that actually relates to engineering or complements to biomedical engineering. And for the skills, I think we mentioned this already, but then since we're going into like the world is becoming much more technological than it was back in the day. So I would advise people to take an interest in artificial intelligence, machine learning, programming, because most medical equipment is more on the technical part than it is mechanical. Very soon we're going to have equipment that doesn't even require you to like literally touch it and break it down as much as we do, because you have a system that diagnoses that and it tells you. I believe we already have that going on in some of the other more technically advanced countries. So I would advise people that are students and even those of us that are already in service to take keen interest in such things to help us grow in our career and also just expand the knowledge that we possess as human beings. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think my key takeaway is, to find a great balance between personal and professional development so that neither is lacking or neither is suffering. I think we'd also love to hear, Asmin, in your context, how has it been? How have you managed, to balance personal and professional growth? And how has your journey in that line been so far, considering that maybe probably you're doing this while still practicing?
Well, just like other speakers have said, the key thing is the balance between the two. As far as professional development is concerned, actually, I'm now taking my master's here in the UK. So still, I would recommend the balance actually. So my skills in professional has been facilitated by reading, mentorship program, joining. I'm so proud of my research group at MUHAS. We have a research group. We have like a very, very diverse team. We have in a team of biomedical engineering department, we have different engineering background there. So we have people who are doing AI, people who are doing mathematical modeling, people who are doing virtual reality and prosthetics and orthotics. So it's a kind of diverse there in my department. And so career-wise, I would say through interaction with that, through even the research that we are doing, it's very well actually on the career development, because every time you're just being exposed to that environment. So every time it's just it's like you're being forced to learn new things and stuff like that, because I'm working in academic and in a research institution. And for personal development, still, I will say trying to personalize yourself, trying to care, trying to even like reading and stuff like that, that are not only related to career-wise. And especially for us who are academicians, it's sometimes you could be carried out by just, every time you're thinking of research, every time you're thinking of grant winning, every time you're just thinking of how can I execute that project and this project. So it might make us like neglect our personal growth. But even the key thing is just balance between the two. So the way I overcome this is just sometimes I will take even a week off trying to reflect on my personal development, trying to do other stuff away from the academic, away from professional career-wise. So yeah, so that's how I try to navigate.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think at this point, I'd like to throw it to the audience. If you have a question, please feel free to just raise your hand, unmute, and we'll be able to answer the questions as they come in. Or you can even also type on the chat as well. As we do that, Sheila, what will be your parting shot, for that biomedical engineering professional who wants to start business someday?
Thanks, Lydia. I hope you can still hear me. So for me, it would be put yourself out there. Do not be afraid to let people know what you'd want to do, whether it's now or in the future. And even if you don't end up doing it, just let them know. You just never know. And feel always ask, put in your ask. If you want something, ask for it. Like, you can't wait for someone to offer it to you. So it's just challenge yourself, put yourself out there, and yeah, believe in God. I believe in the end, all things, like, He makes all things come to pass. So I think that's my parting shot. But challenge yourself in various aspects of your life, both personally, professionally. Yeah, put yourself out there. Do the hard thing you're not qualified for. Just put yourself out there, and you'll be surprised how much you'll do and learn.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Those are very great nuggets that we got from you. So, Luzinda, in your, in working in the non-governmental field, what is that parting shot, that you'll give a young profession who's just starting out and probably probably aspiring to join that field? How do they become successful?
My advice would be to be open-minded, and also just be willing to learn, because working in a non-governmental field is quite challenging, and it's quite different from what people under the government go through. So be open-minded, be willing to learn, and just be a team player. It's a job on training kind of thing. So you won't necessarily know everything that they require from you, but then you have to be willing to learn and just practice that humility. Accept where you do not know something, and be humble enough to just ask for help or guidance where need be. And like I said, dare to dream. Go for even the furthest of things. Just tell yourself, I'm new at this, but I am going to get better. Talk to people that have done it before in either the same field or just something that is related, but be outgoing, be willing to learn, and apply yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate and also concur with you. You really need to apply yourself to, to succeed in whatever you're doing. So lastly, Asmin, there's a question for you on the chat. Bridget is asking, she personally wanted to learn how they can research effectively, especially in the biomedical engineering field in certain areas of interest. So probably you can, give her advice on that, as well as, as your parting shot, tell us more about the importance of professional bodies, especially in the biomedical engineering field. How have they worked for you, and how can upcoming professionals leverage on them to make sure that they're successful in their journey?
So if I got it right, this one asked for how they can research it properly, how they can do research in biomedical engineering.
Yes. Bridget, please also feel free to unmute and clarify in case they're getting it wrong.
All right. So I just wanted to learn how, okay, you were talking of doing some research in the areas of interest, like maybe you are into prosthetics, or you are doing some projects in biomedical engineering, yeah? So I wanted to understand, how do you do research? Because I think I was lacking some little knowledge of it. I've been having some research on some areas, but I think I'm not yet there in the how I see myself progressing.
Okay, so the way that I would advise, if you're interested in doing research, you might be interested, or you might be doing research at the same time. And then this is like something even to be encouraged. Even if you're practicing, you could find a lot of problem in the hospital. So it's not like we are supposed to do only repair and maintenance. We could be researching at the same time we're doing all of this repair and maintenance. You see, like how other professionals do, how doctors do. The doctors, they can practice as well as they can do research while they're practicing. So I encourage even all of us who are practicing to do the same. And the way you can do this properly is to find the gap finding the gap is the most first and crucial thing. And that gap will just actually lead you to do more research reading and find what is currently being done. And then you can do this through, there are different things you can search on, different search engine to just search on what is available on the market and try to refine the gap in the research. So yeah, that will lead you to finding the gap and then doing the research in the first place. You got it, Bridget? Or you need more clarification on that?
No, I got it. But the first
Okay.
statement you said, finding the, oh, okay.
Research gap, that is the first thing. Finding what is currently being done on that area of if you have found a gap.
All right.
That's where you will progress on how you can do research. All right. Back to you, Lydia. You were saying, one of my pitfalls is just to see the importance of professional bodies, right?
Yes. Like how will you elaborate on the importance of professional bodies, especially for people who are practicing in the field? Have they come through for you, and is that very fun to join?
Okay. So I think professional bodies are really, really important. They just I don't know how is it in the other countries, but for us, in order for you to be certified like you're practicing engineering, you need to pass through these professional bodies. And I think it's just to give you the certificate that you're practicing with kind of license for doing the practice, and then for doing the practice. And then the professional bodies, they also, in our country, speaking in our country context, they also do program for mentoring us. Like, this is how you're supposed to practice while you're doing your work as a professional biomedical engineer. And I think it's very, very crucial for professional bodies to intervene. And also, like, professional bodies, they're also like a voice through us, between us and the government as well. For example, here in Tanzania, apart from our professional bodies, the Ministry of Health through the technical service, they also trying to find preparing the guidelines for biomedical engineering practices, because it's kind of not well understood actually when we're practicing. It's not really known what the biomedical could do in a hospital setup, and it's like, like what I've said, like the junk of all trade and the master of none. So that is supposed to be eliminated. And then how can it be eliminated? It's for those government decision makers to have awareness of what are these professionals doing. And the professional bodies, I think they play that very well.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. I believe that is inspiring, and I've seen even students, grow through professional bodies, because that's where you meet mentors, you meet potential employers. You also meet that's also a space where professionals get the chance to network and build their portfolio. Thank you so much for sharing that. And with that, I think we've come to the end of our session, and we thank you so much for joining. We'd like to invite everyone again to our community. It's a community spread across Africa, and we work with our stakeholders to make sure that we create sustainable and resilient healthcare systems throughout. So you can scan the QR code as you can see on the screen, or even just follow us on our socials. Yeah, and thank you so much for joining. And we appreciate our panel of inspiring ladies. We appreciate you taking the time and also sharing the insights with our community. We'd love to have you back. We'll create another session, and we hope that the session has been insightful for all the participants who have joined us today. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.